The fellas are back in
There
town.
you go.
I got my pops right here. Of course, you already know because you're tuning in on my channel. Mr. Wonderful and Pops is in the FC Sneaker Factory. Go ahead, Pops. What do you got to say? I'm gonna fix your collar.
Yeah.
Pops was running late. Sorry for the late live. I mean, should have been here at 6:30. This man takes forever to get ready.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody on the
Although
live.
one person that's watching right now.
One person watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead, Pop.
well, welcome in, everybody. Just want to thank everybody. Hope everybody tunes in today. So Jump right in.
There you go. Well, we got a lot to cover today, especially because of the games this past weekend. Pretty sure you all tuned in, especially if you're tuning into this live, because that's basically what we're going to be discussing. The pool, right? The 14-team pool that I created, and now we're down to two people when it comes to that. So we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But first, I just want to see how my dad's day went because I haven't had a chance to talk to him today. So he just barely came into the FC Sneaker Factory. So, Pops, what did you do today?
Oh, run around. Just ran around today. A busy day this morning.
Do you have errands to do?
Yeah,
or what's
I had
going
errands to do. I had to get my truck oil change, and I had to go pick up my lawnmower and my hedger and get that out of the service, and run around, take my wife here and there to do some grocery shopping and take her to take care of some business.
There you go.
Yeah, busy day.
Busy day for my dad. But I mean, good man right here. He took care of his wife today, did the errands, so that's always good. It's always good to see my dad coming into the FC Sneaker Factory and also just spending some quality time with him, which you find people. And the first one in the build team is Lito the Boss.
Yeah.
Saludos, gentlemen. Salute to us, to everybody though that's in the live. So hopefully get some more people in. But Lito, tell us about your weekend. What did you think about those games that went on? You had Philadelphia versus the Commanders. You had Kansas City versus Buffalo. So I mean, I think me and my dad can all agree on that. That game, it lived up to the hype. Yeah. It lived up to the hype on that one. But we'll go ahead and discuss that later. But Dad, have you been watching any other sports, or has it just been strictly football for you?
No, basketball. I like basketball. I watch a lot of basketball too. College basketball.
Okay.
Duke. I like Duke, and I like Boston Celtics. I watch my Celtics all the time when I can get them, on TV. Yeah.
There you go. So my pops' team's the Boston Celtics, and then he's a big fan of Duke. I'm a huge fan of Duke. I grew up since the 90s loving Duke, so I never strayed away from them. I honestly, to be honest with you, that's like my favorite team out of all the sports, from baseball, NBA, NFL, whatever other hockey. My favorite team by far is the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, my heart lives and dies with them basically every March. So that's just our team. That's my team, and then that's my dad's team as well. But Dad, you weren't always a Duke fan, though.
No, I was a UCLA fan.
There you go.
I like UCLA because Kareem, Lou Alcindor was his name at the time in the 70s. Henry Bibby, and Cindy Wiggs, all them guys that were on UCLA. It was a good team, because of their 10-year run, and they had a good coach called John Wooden.
There you go.
Yeah,
legend.
Good coach. Yeah, real good coach, John Wooden, and Ian coached later on after the 4 years at Kareem. But I think Bill Walton was there for a couple of years before he started playing because Kareem was always the starter. But he went as Lou Alcindor at the time.
Yep. Well, that's when players actually stayed all 4 years. They didn't go transition to the NBA or after the first year. So that was a different time back then. I even forgot how many national championships the men's basketball UCLA men's basketball team won like consecutively. It was
They won quite a bit, yeah. They won quite a bit. I know they had 10. I don't know if they won them all consecutively. Yeah, but they won 10 right up. They won 10 with John Wooden. They won 10.
Mhm.
You know.
What made you like UCLA anyways? What made you become a fan? Because I really don't even know that story.
Well, I used to play basketball when I was in high school. So then and I was with my buddy, my high school buddy that we hanged around with, my childhood buddy actually, when we from third grade all the way to through high school until this day, we hang out together and we still talk.
That's Hank, right?
Henry Cruz, and we used to always go to his house, and his dad would always be watching it. His dad was a big UCLA fan, and they would always come out at 11 o'clock at night, and we would always see him on Channel 5 because back then there was only 2 to 11. I guess.
Yeah, 2 to 11.
I think they still had the antenna on top of the roof and this and that. So that was back in my days. That we used to watch. That's all we used to watch basketball. Yeah. But,
well, I mean, even when I was a kid, we still had the antenna. Like I remember the antenna being on this side of the house and stuff, and running to it in a couple times because I don't know if you guys all remember, but the antennas were actually not attached to the house, but it ran through the house.
Yeah.
And it was literally a pole outside, like outside of one of the bedroom windows. Yeah. So like there's all our grass, and then there's this pole right there, and then the antenna ran up through the roof.
Yeah.
So I remember like playing and not recognizing there was a pole there, and it was like literally like one of those cartoons where you're like running and then you stop and hit the pole. So yeah, I remember a couple of times hitting that pole. Wasn't fun.
Yeah. That wasn't fun. Yeah.
But well, that's cool, Pops.
Then cable came along.
Yeah.
Cable came along.
Yeah.
And, everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted cable. There went. You had to spend some money to get cable, and there went some of the dinners. Some of the going out to dinners.
Going out to Sizzlers.
Sizzlers or whatever. You had to cut that just to go to get the cable.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. we did okay.
Yeah, we as a family, because it's literally, it's me, my sister, and then my mom and dad, of course. We were big. Well, we still are. We're still big TV people. Yeah. Like I remember like going to school on Friday and coming home and like just couldn't wait. One, because I knew, I'm going to be off of school for a couple of days, but two, I already knew like my mom and my dad were going to take us to the video store, like down the street. It was called Video Junction. And we would go rent movies, and that would be our weekend, like literally be our weekend, just sitting at home and watching movies and watching TV. I remember at that time too, like we would watch, that's when they actually showed the Big Spin or the Lotto on TV, which was pretty interesting at that time. But I just remember being spending a lot of time watching movies. And the reason why I bring all that up is because my dad's like a huge TV person. Like out of all my years growing up, I just remember always having like the biggest TV, like in our entire family and in our friends and stuff like that. So we always grew up with like big TVs, and at that point we were always watching it in the living room because that was our main source of where we watched all our TV. We had TVs in our individual rooms. Like I had my own, my sister had her own, but like my TV in my room was huge, but the screen was like really small. Yeah. And then my sister had a really small TV. But tell the people out there like about how even to this day he's still about his TV. Yeah. But like what attracted you to TV so much?
Just like watching TV. I like watching all the cowboy movies, just any kind of TV, just watch it, and I always wanted a big TV, and I always like back then they didn't have like these LTDs or
LCDs.
or LCDs or whatever,
Mhm.
and they didn't have like these flat screens, TVs. They only had picture tubes,
Yeah.
and biggest picture tube was a 40-inch picture tube. So
Mhm.
so I had to buy that. I had to buy a 40-inch picture tube. And
What year was this, you think?
I think that was back in probably in 80, 85, something like that. 85,
No,
86.
not
No?
85. I always thought I'd been a little kid.
Oh, really?
The biggest one we had, I
was
had to
in
be like
That Quasar one. It was a
The
Quasar.
yeah.
Yeah.
the one with the wood
the wood
paneling,
paneling.
right? Yeah.
So in the night, no,
That had to be like
in the
late 80s,
80s,
early
yeah,
90s.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Not
no.
85.
No. Well, 85 we had a TV. We had our TV.
Yeah.
And it was a Sony. Was it a Sony? Or
I don't know what it was.
Hitachi or something like that.
I
But
can't
anyways,
remember.
well, the only reason I like TVs because I worked at Fedco and I worked in the TV department.
Okay.
And that's all TVs. There's the TVs, all the names of the TVs that everybody wanted, And RCA was supposed to be one of the top brands, and then Sony came along, and and everybody wanted a Sony, no baloney, They came out like that. So and then Hitachi came out, and I thought Hitachi was better than Sony, but and there was all kinds of different TVs, Zenith, and there are some other ones, Samuel, Samuel. There's another one called Samuel. But anyways, that's all I got. And then after that, I wanted hey, Mr. 209, how you doing?
Orale carnas.
Yeah.
That's from American Me. Orale carnas. I send mines. I send mines a todos.
Yeah.
Mr. 209.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure seeing you in the building, Mr. 209. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then after that, the VCRs came out. That's when the VCRs and Betamax and all that. So we had to get a VCR, So yeah, and that's how we used to watch our movies. It was on the VHS cassettes.
Yeah, that's why we go to videos.
The video jumps, yeah. But that was in probably in the 90s when they
I was already I mean, it was late 80s, early 90s when we got late 80s when we got VCRs.
And then the TV started getting bigger and bigger. Like then they started getting the hibachis, Hitachi. What was that one? Hitachi or a hibachi? Well, anyways, I think it was it's almost like a car name from a car. But anyways. And they came out with a 45-inch TV, and that was a flat screen, but it had a big back in it still too. And so I had to get that, I had to buy that, I think every TV that started going bigger, I went bigger. I think right now we got a 70-inch or a 65-inch, something like that. TV in our living room.
Yeah.
But my wife don't let us go in there.
Not just because of the cats.
Yeah, the cats. The cats go and jump on the couch and this and that.
Yeah. So, but sorry to stop you. Pops,
No.
But Lito the Boss says the old Sonys are notoriously heavy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they're freaking. They're a weight.
Yeah. Because they had tubes. They had those picture tubes. They had tubes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But to bring it back, my pops, like he mentioned that he worked at Fedco. Anybody out there remember Fedco? Like that place was amazing. That was like literally an all-in-one place. It had electronics, it had toys, it had furniture, even had a cafeteria. It had everything that you could possibly think of, clothes. I mean, that place was just so amazing. As a kid, like I remember spending a lot of my childhood at Fedco. I would actually let my mom, she would go shopping and I would just go hang out at the video game place and just like play games or like look through all the toys and all that stuff. Just a good time. But I remember you working at Fedco when I was a small child.
If I knew the things they had a lot of electronic, like the stereos, ones that they had, the turntables and all that, like, and there's wood. Oh man, what was that one called? Oh man, I'm trying to think of the name of the stereo name. Well, anyways, but they had top of the market stereos, man. They had everything there,
Mhm.
and
They had a gas station.
yeah, they had a gas station,
Yeah.
tire center, everything. They had it all there, and
Mhm.
they even had a Swift knife
Mhm.
shop there.
Yeah.
And they had
I remember that.
swords, Swift knives, and all that. And those Swift knives ain't cheap now these days. They gone up in prices. Those Swift knives, so yeah. If I knew how to buy a lot of those things and just kept them, because they went up a lot. They went up quite a bit,
Yeah.
And those those components, like man, I'm trying to think of the names, those stereos back in those
Oh.
days. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mr. Tune,
Yeah.
I would probably know.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
what's some old stereo? I mean, all I can
Yeah.
think of right now is like Alpine.
Yeah.
Obviously Sony.
Mm.
I can't really think of too much. JVC.
Yeah.
Remember that?
But the one that had the receiver and the turntable, and then they had the speakers on the side, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Yeah, I forgot.
But
Been so
yeah.
long.
Yeah, but I remember growing up,
Mhm.
like we would always, well, because we had a black box
Uh-huh.
too growing up, so
Yeah.
we were able to watch like all the fights
Fights.
and stuff that were pay per
Chavez,
view.
yeah.
So we would huge fan of Julio Cesar
Hugo
Chavez.
Chavez,
I mean,
yeah.
still to this day the greatest
Yeah.
fighter of all times in my mind.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure my dad's. But
Yeah.
we would watch all the fights.
Yeah.
I remember watching just like the Holyfield Bow fights
Yeah.
here. I remember inviting my friends from school, from elementary school, and we would be watching them, and my dad just getting crazy. Not with anybody, just with the TV and stuff, like yelling at the TV. And but I remember watching like tons of fights. I grew up watching a lot of I grew up watching all sports pretty much. Boxing, specifically a lot of boxing because of the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So big fan of boxing growing up. I mean, we watched Julio Cesar Chavez versus Frankie Randall, Pernell Whitaker, all those fights.
Yeah.
De La Hoya versus Camacho, like Whitaker as well. Like just all those fights growing up. Rafael Ruales, he fought tons of fights. But let us know, like, do you like how was you growing up when you're younger? Because I'm sure all the people tuning in now are upper in the age, right? Just like myself and my dad right here. But like, what do you guys remember? And ladies as well, right? The cheerleaders, I can never forget about them.
Yeah.
But what do you remember as far as growing up, as far as like TVs go? Because I mean, I remember these TVs were freaking massive. Like, I remember we would have sometimes my mom would want to vacuum underneath the TV because we had carpet, so we have to lift up the TV and move it.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember the biggest TV that we had. It was freaking huge. I forgot what size it was, but it was so massive and so amazing to look at. But the downfall was those bulbs, pops.
Yeah.
Like once they blew out,
they
were expensive too. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my friend Henry, his dad had a TV shop, and he was a serviceman, and he used to service a TV. So if I needed a bulb, I would always just go to him, or we would go to him, and he would give us, he'll sell us a bulb, and he'll tell us what we needed and how to put it in, how to take it off, put it in. And also, I went to his shop, so I learned to move, TVs around. Not only that, but seeing him how to work on them and all this and that. So, yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. I was thinking the TV that massive TV we had was Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi. There you go.
That was huge. That one's the one with the bulb.
Yeah.
And like once that bulb blew out, that like you couldn't watch. That's what I was talking about.
That bulb that went in the back.
Yeah.
I think it lasted 4 years or something. That once it went out.
It didn't last years. It lasted hours as far as like TV hours. And we didn't know that. Yeah. And my dad didn't know that when he purchased that TV, that bulb only had so many hours on it. And then once it popped, because you could hear it pop and it'll go out, and the TV wouldn't work anymore. Yeah. And then the bulb was like like $250
yeah,
bucks or
$250
something like that. It
yeah.
was expensive. Lito the Boss says big fight this Saturday. I didn't know that Benavidez versus
Yeah,
Morale. I didn't even know that was.
yeah.
It's already here. I remember watching stuff on YouTube like the pre-fights and all that crap, and I didn't know it was already this weekend. Are you sure, Litos? I didn't realize it was already this weekend. I remember having the remote control. Yeah,
Yeah,
to
the
be
remote
the
control.
remote control. Yeah. Yeah, I remember just even having a remote control was a big thing, like late 80s, because everything was, you literally had to go to the TV and flip through the channels.
The knobs, yeah.
Who remembers that? Like,
Yeah.
you didn't like a remote never existed and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just crazy how time flies. Now we have TVs and they don't even cost that much.
The one stereo I was thinking about, those 3-unit ones were like Kenwood.
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 There you
go. Kenwood, yeah. Kenwood
Yes.
was one of the top of the lines back then.
Yeah.
For the car stereos, the Pioneers.
Pioneers, JVC, Alpine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had an Alpine in my truck when I had it.
And those were the TVs, the stereos that went in the trucks and the cars and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the Kenwood ones was came with a receiver, and then the turntable. They were all separate. They weren't all together. They were all set. 3 different units. Wish I would have kept one of those.
I remember
play records on it.
I remember my dad my mom buying my dad a stereo or
like a boombox.
A boombox for Christmas one year. But actually the speakers detached from it too, so it was pretty cool. I don't know what brand it was. Do you remember what brand it was, Dad?
No, I don't.
Lito the Boss, he says, yeah, it's on the first. The new Samsungs have solar remotes, no batteries. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know all our TVs have Well, we don't really use the remotes, huh?
No, we don't,
because we all have cable boxes.
Yeah,
like when it comes to the TVs, we all have like Spectrum, so we have the Spectrum remotes for all our TVs in our house. So,
and that fight's on
probably pay-per-view, or not pay-per-view, but what, DAZN or something? Is it on DAZN, Lito? Let us know, because I don't even know. Well, I can definitely try to watch it here. But yeah, it's something I even forgot. Man, honestly, I don't even know when fights are on anymore. Like, I miss the times where like you could watch them on Showtime or HBO. Now it's like all the boxing from cable's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally we'll get one here on ESPN, but besides that, it's always DAZN or like some other random app.
That Sheik guy is getting them all.
Yeah. I remember me and my cousin were talking about that, and he's the one. I don't know, is his name Sheik?
I think it's something. I don't know. I just call him the Sheik because he's Europe or Arab.
Yeah. He well, I think he's like from Saudi Arabia. But yeah, I know he's the one that's like the main promoter now that's putting all these big fights together. So, which is a good thing, but like I just miss the old days, because I remember watching. I mean, who remembers that, like Boxing After Dark? Who remembers watching some solid fights on HBO or Showtime, like late at night on a Saturday? Those are the times. I mean, watching. A huge fan of what's his name? I can't even think of his name right now. Drew a blank. Such a good fighter.
Canelo.
No, not Canelo. No, we're talking about some older fighter.
Older fighter.
Yeah, like older fighter. What's his name? He had some good fights with well, there's Castillo versus Morales. Man, I'm drawing a blank when it comes to my boxing. It's been so damn
it's
long.
So long. We haven't been watching any boxing that much.
Yeah,
just Canelo, just the ones that Canelo fights. That's it, really. He's the only one that comes on when we watch it on Cinco de Mayo or the September the 16th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lito the Boss is DAZN. That's where the fight's going to be on. Right. So, Yeah, thank you, Lito. Because even we
We
both
got
didn't
it.
know that. And the perfect thing is this weekend there's no besides Duke versus North Carolina on Saturday, gonna be a freaking huge game because if you know the rivalry, Duke hates North Carolina and North Carolina hates Duke, and I hate North Carolina because I'm a big fan of Duke. So that's my main game. That's at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. If you want to tune into that, I'm sure it's going to be on ESPN. Everybody's going to be talking about it. Trust me. But besides that, that's it, huh? There's really no sports on this weekend. Besides, football's the previous neat weekend. We'll be talking about that. So keep tuning in. Some important information, especially at the end of the live. So make sure you're paying attention. You don't freaking get off early when it comes to our live. Make sure you stay on because you're going to want to listen to some of this information we're going to be presenting you. And we're talking about some gifts. Okay, so free gifts, nothing you're going to have to pay for. But yeah, I cannot think of the boxer's name. It's literally on the tip of my tongue.
Not the one that starts with a B. What's his name?
Well, I remember watching like Tyson Holyfield. That wasn't on HBO or Showtime. That was straight pay-per-view. But I remember the first one. I remember the second one where he bit his ear. I remember all that as a kid, watching it on the black box. But I remember like specifically a lot of like the younger fighters watching them growing up on Showtime after dark, especially like Arturo Gotti versus Mickey Ward. That was a classic, right? That was even on pay-per-view. That was actually on like I want to say HBO or Showtime, one of those two. I want to say HBO at that time. But that was like those epic fights that you don't see. Castillo Corrales, oh my god, amazing fight. Right? Fight for the generations, a fight that people still talk about to this day. Do you remember that fight, Dad?
No.
Because sometimes they'll show it like
probably a long time back when.
Though that was like probably like early 90s around that fight. Right. But that was a good fight. That was an amazing fight. But I just love when they bring those fights back, like they show them on like HBO. Oh, not HBO. Yeah. I believe sometimes they show them on Showtime or like even on ESPN, like those boxing classics. And that was what I remember that one was one of them.
They show a lot of them like on YouTube also. I've been following, like I see once in a while. I like seeing the one that was Chavez against Maverick Taylor.
Maverick Taylor.
Yeah.
What's his name? It was Taylor, but I forgot his last name. But yeah, that was a classic fight. It says Alito the Boss says Saturday night fights on ESPN had a lot of good. Remember when you bring that up, Lito? I remember watching the guy from Rocky 5. What's his name? The guy from
what's his name? What was his name?
Yeah, I'm drawing blank in front of the camera. I feel like this is my first time. I can't even think of people's names. I'm sorry. I apologize for everybody out there.
Rocky versus Tommy.
Tommy Gunn. Right. I remember Tommy going against Mercer and getting his lights knocked out, and that was crazy fight. I remember him going so hard at the beginning of the fight, and then he gassed out. He gassed out, and he literally got his. I heard that was like one of the most, like craziest knockouts ever. As far as it got voted, Tommy Morrison.
Yeah, Tommy Morrison.
He got literally like that's like one of the most famous knockouts of all time because of how he went down. Yeah. He was literally knocked out on his feet. I remember that fight. That was such a crazy fight.
One too. There was a good knockout too. Was that Morales and Pacquiao?
Yeah. That was the number
the third
or fourth or something.
Yeah, they fought. Yeah, but they were all good fights. They were all good killer fights, man.
I was a big Pacquiao fan, huge Pacquiao fan. But I still can't remember the boxer that is literally at the top of literally on the tip of my tongue. He reminded me of Uncle Art. He had the Virgin Mary tattoo right here on his chest.
Oh,
okay.
Fighter. What's his name?
Had a shaved head.
Yeah, crazy kind of guy.
Yeah, really just active. Lito, I know you remember him.
I know who he is too.
I cannot think of his name right now. God, for that, if if I was gonna die right now, if I couldn't think of his name, I'd be dead because
Uh,
I just cannot think of his name. But
I
man,
just seen his name too, not too long ago.
he had some classic fights, and I want to say with
I remember it.
with Corrales is what I want to say. He fought Corrales. I cannot think of his name. From Albuquerque, Mexico.
Yeah,
I remember the pride of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Man, I cannot think of his name. Somebody
Psycho.
help me.
Psycho. No, I know that. It's Psycho, but he was crazy. He was a crazy guy.
Oh my God, it's
man.
gonna haunt me if I can't think of his name. Man, but yeah, that I remember him having some classic fights, and those weren't pay-per-view fights. Those were actually Showtime or HBO. I mean, we just don't get that anymore. And that's all. That's basically wanting to say is like everything's streaming on these apps now, and it's not accessible. Just like you can't just watch it on like ESPN or Showtime, and I mean it's just sad because now like everything's streaming, and I'm sorry, I'm old school. I love just watching fights on HBO or something to be looking forward to. Oh, there's gonna be that good fight on Showtime. I'm gonna definitely tune into it. Now it's like I don't even know what fights are which anymore.
He ended up passing away. He got shot or something, or
not
shot. He just ended up passing.
Yeah,
or his family or something like that, or his dad or his mom or something like that. He said something about.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
So, I know the guy's name too, man.
I can't even look his name up because I don't know his name. Like I don't. Albuquerque, New Mexico fighter. That's all I can remember right now, and I'm not going to type all that in trying to figure it out. But if anybody, I'm going to continue to shout this out. Like it's going to kill me. Like I know after the live, I'll probably remember it, but right now I just can't even remember if my life depended on it at this point. So, but such a great fighter. I mean, definitely, I feel like that man. I believe he made the Boxing Hall of Fame. But I mean, he definitely
he fought his heart out.
Yeah, he definitely needs to. The light needs to shine bright on that guy because man, he literally. I felt like remember hearing. I seen the biography on him because they did a biography. Johnny Tapia. There you go. Tapia. Johnny Tapia. That's who I was trying to think of. I mean, that guy. I mean, my heart went out for him because he had so many troubles outside of the ring, but in the ring. Like he was a champion, and he fought it. Like my dad said, he fought his heart out, and he actually reminded me a lot of my uncles, my dad's brothers, right there, and just like I could just like relate to him, and my heart always like was going for him, and I wanted him to win every fight. He got robbed,
couple,
on those Corrales fights. He fought him twice. I think he got robbed on him tremendously. Not talking about Hector Macho Camacho. I never was a fan of him. I was glad that Julio Cesar Chavez beat him up. Same thing with De La Hoya. I remember that whole fight with De La Hoya. They betted if he lost, he would cut off that little curl, and he never followed through with that. So, and I know De La Hoya wanted that little curl for his keepsake, whatever he wanted to do with it.
Probably wanted to wear it. If you wear nylons and all that kind of stuff, then you want to wear it as a rat tail. Guys.
Yeah, I mean, but outside of what De La Hoya does outside the ring, what he's into outside the ring, how he acts outside the ring. I mean, the guy was a beast in the ring.
He was.
I mean, he was. I mean, we didn't always go for him. We didn't always agree with, how he spoke and stuff like that. But the man fought everybody, and you can never take that away. He fought everybody. He wasn't like a lot of these fighters now where they pick and choose who they want to fight. He fought everybody. I mean, fought Mosley. I mean, he already knew Mosley had more speed than him, but he fought him. I mean, don't get me wrong. We understand he fought a lot of people when they're older in age, just like Julio Cesar Chavez. He fought a lot of people when they're old, but I mean, that's not his fault. I mean, he was young and they're old, so
he didn't want to fight him when he was young.
Even can't fight him when he was young.
Should have fought him.
Dad. No, he can't fight him when
he would have knocked him out.
Like 12 years old.
They would have beat him up.
in the
No, I'm just kidding.
in the prime
Yeah.
of Julio Cesar Chavez
Yeah.
career in De La Hoya, they were like
They're
it would've
that
been like
far,
9 years old or something like that. But yeah, we can never take anything away. I still wear De La Hoya t-shirts because he fought a lot of great people. So shout out to De La Hoya. Shout out to Johnny Tapia. I
Yeah,
mean,
Tapia.
definitely, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about and you're watching this later on, go check out some of his
Yeah.
fights. I mean, the man, it's just sad because the generation now will never know Johnny Tapia because he's not that big name. He wasn't an Oscar De La Hoya. He wasn't a Felix Trinidad. He wasn't a Evander Holyfield. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that don't even know who Evander Holyfield is, and that's freaking terrible because that guy was in so many wars. I mean, those Riddick Bowe fights, oh my God. I mean, don't even get me started on that. Those were classic fights.
In the Tyson's.
Tyson fights.
Tyson fight, he fought them all, man. Holyfield.
Holyfield fought everybody.
Yeah,
That's one thing too. That man had a heart of a champion. That guy was he was a bodybuilder, basically fighting. I mean, that man had the muscles. I mean, and he can hit and he can a chin. A chin that, man, he took some shots and he didn't go down. He wasn't an easy knockdown.
He took his ear off, some of his ear off.
And he still fought.
And beat him up.
Tyson,
knocked him out.
That's another man that I want to give a shout out to, Tyson. I mean,
Tyson.
I think a lot of people, like, besides his antics outside the ring and even inside the ring, but I don't think he gets enough credit for his chin. He had a crazy chin as well. I mean, some of those shots that he took when he fought James Buster Douglas, crazy. I mean, people who went down with just one of those shots. It took numerous shots for him to go down. I remember not seeing that as a kid, but I remember my dad went to his friend's house to watch it, and him coming home and just telling us about it. It was just pretty crazy time.
Yeah.
But I mean, big family of boxing. What else you got to add, Pops?
One thing I got to add is I took my son to a boxing match.
Oh yeah.
And me and my friend, we were going to a boxing match, and then and I think my wife said, "You got to take Floyd with you, my son." So I go, "Okay, I'll take him." So got him dressed, took him with me, and after that, when the ring girl would go around with the number saying round one, and I would look back and I would say, well, "Where's my son at?" He would be all the way on the other side of the corner, following the ring girl around the ring. And I was like, "Get over here! What's wrong?"
I mean, at a young age, I love women. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a womanizer. I just love women. I knew at a young age what I liked. But
it was only what?
I was little. I was a kid. I remember that. I remember what happened was Mom went to the store shopping. She left me home, and I think my dad's friend just called him out of nowhere, like just out of the blue, and just said, "Hey, you want to go see a fight?" And my dad had no choice but to take me. I remember that, and I remember him throwing on the tightest shoes possible on me. They didn't fit. I remember, and I was like, they hurt so bad. And I mean, I just, I went with my dad, and this ring girl, I mean, must have caught my eye because like she was, I mean, she would hold up the card and do something after we're talking about all four corners of the square of the ring. So I was following her around every time. So I wasn't paying attention to boxing. I was paying attention to the ladies, like I should.
I think it was little Indian Red Lopez fighting that day. That he's an old boxer. That's an old time boxer.
Yeah,
Indian Red.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that. Crazy Pops. Thanks, Pops, for taking me. I appreciate it. But anything else you want to add, Pop?
No.
You want to talk about these games that happened this past weekend?
Yeah, we'll talk about the games.
Okay, so the first game was the Commanders versus the Eagles. That was my cousin Mike versus Michelle, one of the beautiful cheerleaders. She had the Eagles, and they went head-to-head together. Yeah. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a closer game than what it was. But tell us what happened, Dad.
Tell us. Barkley again. Barkley tore it up, man. Barkley ran right over there, man. I that guy from San Bernardino, I actually asked my neighbor because
Mhm.
I told you he went to Cajon. He played in Cajon for a couple of years, and no, he had that kid had Daniels had graduated a year before he got there, and he was playing. He was already playing. But he said sometimes that he would actually go to their game because they were in the playoffs all the time, and he actually went to a couple of their games and was standing on the sidelines. But I think he was in college. Yeah, support him,
Uh,
and I think he was in college at the time. I think he only spent 2 years in college, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't stay all 4 years. I think he only
No.
stayed 2.
Yeah, probably 2.
Yeah, because I think that's what you have to stay is 2.
See, he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Yeah.
believe he won the Heisman.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to the game. So,
Yeah, but Barkley just tore it up, man, and Barkley ran right over them and a 60-yard right off the get go, and then a couple more, and then the quarterback ran for two or three touchdowns, 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good game though.
It was a beating.
Yeah, it was a beating.
It was a good game if you're an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
If you're a Commanders fan, it
Yeah.
felt bad for you. You probably turned it off after some point, but
Yeah.
it was literally a beatdown. And it wasn't by no small margin. It was 55-23. Like it was a beatdown. And Philadelphia's defense showed up, and unfortunately Mike is no longer with us when it comes to the playoff pool. He didn't quite reach the Super Bowl, but hey, he got some money back, so good thing for Mike. But Michelle moves on, and she is going to the Super Bowl, so I'm sure she's happy, and hopefully, we're all praying, right? Me and my dad, and I know probably some of you guys and the beautiful ladies are probably praying that the Eagles will pull it out in the Super Bowl, because we all know who they're going to be up against. And that brings us to this. The Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. What did you think about that game, Pop?
Oh man, those referees, they give them everything, man. They're outside. They hold on to the receivers, they hold them down, and the referees don't call nothing against the Kansas City. I don't know if they're getting tickets to go see what's her name, that Taylor Swift at a concert or something. I don't know. Those referees are bad, terrible, man. They should do something with them. They need to do something about them refs, man.
But the crazy thing is that they can always overturn them. If you didn't know that, New York actually is watching the games while they're happening, and if New York sees that they're not making the proper calls, they can call in and overturn the calls that the refs do, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, they don't. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because the one play that I can really think about that really sticks out into my head is where he threw Mahomes threw that pass, and it was they're both caught. They both caught it, but it hit the ground. The tip of the ball right here. That's what I'm pointing out to you. The tip of the ball did hit the ground, and they actually replayed it. Could see it, but they still called it a catch. And I want to say, actually, they called it a catch, but the Bills' defense stepped up. Bills' defense did amazing. I'm going to say that. They stepped up, and they actually stopped them and forced them to kick a field goal. So it didn't get a touchdown, but, just 3 points. And look at what the score ended up being, 27-25. So they lost by 2 points. So if they didn't get that, that would have been 3 points right there. And I'm not saying that it would be 25-24, but it is a possibility. Anything, change plays and scores, they change the game. Even if it's 3 points, 2 points, or whatever it is, it's going to change the game in some way, taking away the crowd or bringing in the crowd.
That 95 was outside, and they didn't even call him outside. He was right there. His helmet was on the other side of the line, and they didn't call it at all. I don't know. Like I said, I think Taylor Swift gives all the referees and probably the people now and wherever they're at and somewhere else, other land, and give them tickets to their concert for their kids or something. I don't know. Yeah. But it's terrible. They have to do something with it about that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't let some people get away with stuff like that. They got to play the game fair.
Yeah, I agree. But you have to see it too. Buffalo had so many opportunities to win the
chances,
game.
yeah.
They had a lot of opportunities, and they didn't capitalize.
Yeah.
I mean, they did not capitalize. Josh Allen played an amazing game, but God, another thing that sticks out to me, they could not convert on the fourth downs when they do. They push them in like.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on with that? Like they kept stopping
Yeah,
them, and I'm like, dude, how in the world does Philadelphia always get the first down? And these guys had multiple attempts, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. Like, I mean, you would think those would be the easiest things, like either run it forward or call a play and have them run outside. But it should a yard. That's all we're talking about is get a freaking yard, and they couldn't even do that. So. I mean, it's just the game was close. The game lived up to the hype. The game lived up to whatever it was supposed to be. It did, but it didn't. I mean, obviously, me and my dad weren't happy about the result, right? That brought to Daniel. He had Kansas City in the pool, and then my dad's childhood best friend, Hank Henry, he had Buffalo, and looks like Daniel is moving on to the Super Bowl, and Henry got left behind, and he did get some money, but I mean, he's not going to the Super Bowl, and we all want it. I mean, I feel like me and my dad definitely, but I feel like a lot of people out there wanted Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl, and they had every opportunity. Like the second half was really their half. They ran the ball good. Cook was running really good. I mean, what did you see besides the refs? I don't want you to keep going on the refs, but what else did you? What else did you see about the game?
Yeah, Cooks did good. There's a couple passes that should have been caught, like you said, by Allen. That guy that threw it up in the end, in the fourth down or something like that, and he missed. And he should have came back more on it and caught it. All they needed was 5 yards to catch the ball. They didn't need it. He didn't need to be all the way that way, that far. But.
They blitzed him, so I understood. But
he had a chance to catch.
He literally waited for the ball to come to him. He could have just ran towards the ball and helped out the pass because we seen as much all the air underneath that pass. He could have easily ran up and jumped and caught the pass to get the first down, but he literally just waited for it to get to him, and then by then it was his fingertips. Or I don't even know if it was fingertips. I think he just dropped it.
Yeah, dropped it too. He had it.
Just like, man, come on, like biggest game right here, it doesn't get any bigger than this, and you can't make the catch. It's like in the weather, I mean, it wasn't snowing, it wasn't anything like that. Not like Andrews during the Ravens and Buffalo game, like it was freaking snowing, it was cold as hell. I'm sure it was cold there, but it wasn't as cold as what it was when the Ravens played the Buffalo Bills. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like there shouldn't be any excuses. He should have caught that. He should have ran up and caught it instead of waiting for him. And I thought the defenders were closer to him, but no, they were pretty far. Like, they weren't even going to interfere in the ball. That's why everybody just looked at him, and he drops it. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Well, that kills them, and they go home.
Exactly. All off season and think about it. With the rest of all the other teams, think about it. But there's been a lot of movement, Pops, when it comes to like the coaches.
Coaches,
going everywhere. I can't keep track. The only thing I kept track of is that Robert Saleh is going back as the Niners defensive coordinator, and hallelujah.
Hey, Raiders are getting a good coach.
Oh yeah, Raiders too. Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll's,
That's right. Pete Carroll going to the Raiders.
And Dallas out. They got somebody else, but they didn't get Dion. They got somebody else.
Yeah, I want to say they got Schottenheimer. I don't know. I don't really pay attention.
And then they need. Pittsburgh got a new coach too.
Yeah, because they let go Mike Tomlin. I don't know why. It's not his fault. You don't have a good quarterback.
Yeah, really. Should have used that other quarterback.
Jeez, man, Tomlin's the face of that the Steelers, and you get rid of him. I mean, I don't know.
You got rid of a lot of, like you said, a lot
of moves. It's crazy because I don't recall ever there being an off season like this where there's so many coaches going to different places.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But so that brings us to the Super Bowl. We got the Chiefs. We got the Eagles. I mean, I just hope it's going to be a good game. I hope we hit on our squares. I mean, my dad, myself, my mom, all of us. I hope we get rich when it comes to this Super Bowl Sunday in a couple weeks. These games were better than last weekend. Yeah, exactly. They were. They're really good. Good games. But I just wish I had the outcome with the Eagles. I wanted the Eagles to win, but I just wish the Buffalo Bills would pull it off.
Pull it off. Yeah, that would have been.
That was a bummer. I'm not even I'm not a Bills fan like that, and I was still bummed for them. Like, man, Josh Allen can't get over the hump, against Mahomes in the playoffs. He can beat his butt during the entire season, but come playoff time, it's like when it counts.
Yeah, when it counts.
Yeah, that's when you need to step up. You need to win. Like, screw this. I mean, you want to win during the season, but really, ultimately, just get to the playoffs and win. That's when you want to really win.
Yeah.
You can have the best record in football, which the freaking Chiefs do, and they carry it on into the playoffs. So all we can hope for is they don't three-peat. I mean, I don't want to see a three-peat.
Everybody wants it because they make history, but I don't want to see it. I don't care if they make history or not. I don't want to see them make a three-peat. I want Eagles to beat them. And I hope they beat them bad. Like Barkley run right all over them.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I hope Philadelphia's defense is like the way they played the Commanders against the Chiefs. That would be huge. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Buffalo's defense did really good. Yeah. I think they kept them in the game, but it was just the offense. I don't know why the whole fourth downs were just absolutely terrible. Are you going to do any squares for the Super Bowl? Personally, we're not doing anything. It's just doing with people on YouTube, and I'm just saying with me and my dad, like, it'd be too hard to collect money and do squares and all that. So that's why we always do the 14 team pool, because it's a lot easier and more manageable. Trying to fill a square box is really hard. But if I hear about any squares, I'll definitely let you know. Any people running squares, I'll definitely keep you in mind. Just shoot me. Go on my Instagram, Floyd Chavez Jr. You can shoot me your info there, and I'll definitely keep you in the loop on that. But right now, I haven't heard anything. I feel like a lot of people already created them, but you never know. People might be doing stuff last minute because we still got a full week, a week and a half now still. So still got a good amount of time before the Super Bowl. But yeah, that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about. Do you want us to talk about anything else, Dad?
I might sell raffle tickets for an El Camino, 1980 El Camino, $200 a ticket, or I might just sell for next year the first game of the season. If I can, I'll sell squares, 100 squares, and for $200, and whatever number pops in the halftime or fourth quarter, depends what we want to do, and somebody can pick up the El Camino. But I do want to do something like that for next year or this coming year with my El Camino. If you guys are interested, I can send you pictures of it, but it's a nice car, a nice, beautiful car. And, but I want to get 100 people, at least get 100 people to raffle it off or get 100 squares. So that way, because it's a nice car and it's a show car, you can take it you can drive it all you want, or you can take it to shows or whatever you want to do. Yeah. But it's a nice El Camino. It's already done.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. That's all. That's all. That's it.
Yeah. Definitely. You could drop a comment. Let us know if you're interested. When we get to that point. Besides that, that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about. Talk about. I just wanted to see what my dad did today. I haven't had a chance to talk to him, and then I'm just reminisced about some old times. And we'll probably continue to do this. We're definitely going to do this next Wednesday because the Super Bowl is that Sunday. So definitely we'll be back on the live discussing what everybody's predictions are going
Yeah.
to be when it comes to the Super Bowl. Like I said, this is the part you probably really wanted to tune into.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lito. You were
Yeah.
besides Mr. 209, you're
Yeah.
the one that
And
the only people that were in here.
yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, really.
Where's
thought
everybody else at? But I mean, we all know everybody has a life.
Yeah.
We don't expect people.
Not only that, but
tuning in.
we are going to give some away next week. You know, whoever guesses who wins and the score,
Mhm,
we're going to raffle off a wallet
mhm.
and with some cash in it. So,
Cash.
yeah,
Okay,
cash in
okay.
it. So you'll be tuning in next Wednesday. You know, that way you guys can.
Yeah,
There's only 2 of you.
yeah.
Hey,
You might do a
that's it,
sweep.
yeah.
I think honestly, it'd be Mr. 209. I don't think he's here anymore, so it'd be literally Lito getting all the prizes. So yeah, if you guys aren't watching, you're missing out, because you know what, next week my dad will be doing like he says, you're gonna have to figure out who you choose think's gonna win, and the score, whoever gets closest to the score will win a wallet with some cash, and then we'll do some other raffles too. Probably just asking some questions, like Super Bowl questions. So hey, definitely tune in next week, next Wednesday, but also to make sure you're looking over the history of the Super Bowl, because we're going to be raffling off some gift cards when it comes to next Wednesday. And don't be freaking Googling it while we're asking the question. Just try to make sure, because it's going to be first comment in there that actually gets it right. It's going to get that gift card. So hey, if Lito's the only one in here, because it looks like he might do a full sweep of everything, and he's going to get everything. So if you don't want that to happen, I'm sure he does. But if you don't want that to happen, then freaking tune in. I mean, that's why we're here. But honestly, we enjoy just even talking to Lito. Thank you so much, Lito. Yeah, and Mr. 209, I believe he probably just came in just really quick just to say what's up. But yeah, I mean, I always enjoy hanging out with my dad. I enjoy doing this with my dad because this is fun, and I know he enjoys it a lot. You could see in the thumbnail, I put my dad in the thumbnail as a special guest, and you know what? That's just a great thumbnail picture right there of him, just being a good dad and a fun guy right there. So, but that's all I have to say, Pops. What do you have to say?
Just keep supporting my son on his shoes. You know, hey. You know,
you guys could do whatever you want. I do it because I love shoes.
But still, and those are his.
Yeah,
they're not borrowed. They're not borrowed. They're not rented or nothing like that. They're all his.
Yeah, this is no facade. Right? These are all real shoes, right?
Yeah, they are. They're not empty boxes, and I'll vouch for that.
Trust me.
I'll vouch for that. They're not no empty boxes.
They're all
filled with shoes.
Yeah, and they're all the shoes that belong in those boxes. Most importantly, they're not like.
There are no fakes. There's no fake shoes in there. There's no fake tennies where he gets them from me and puts them in there because I wear Hey Dude shoes.
Yeah, my dad wears a big supporter of Hey Dude shoes, and you will not find any Hey Dude shoes in these boxes right here. These are all the shoes that are supposed to be in those boxes, and they're all my size. They're not size.
They're not 11 and a half. They're not 11 and a half. They're only 10 and a half. So I can't wrap my feet in there.
Yeah.
Or else I'll be like me taking him to that boxing match, and that's how tight they'll be on my feet.
Those are some tight shoes. Yeah. As a kid, I still remember how tight those shoes were. They hurt so bad. But yeah, so after that, we're gonna go ahead and be out now at this point. But once again, tune in to next week, because next week you definitely want to tune in. I mean, we should see at least 10 people, because you know what? We're going to be doing some raffles. My dad's going to be doing also one for a wallet with some money. I don't even know how much money we're talking about, but I'm sure it's a good. My dad's not cheap. But we're just going to have fun next week, next Wednesday.
And I made the wallet.
There you go. It's a homemade wallet. So that's even more of a reason to tune in. It's going to be just a great time. Lito says, enjoy the rest of your evening, gentlemen. Thank you, Lito. And then thank you for giving us something else to talk about next week. We'll be talking about the fight of what's his name? I can't even think of his name. Not Canelo.
I know, but it starts with a C. C-A-R-C.
But the fight next week of David Morrell versus Man, I
Castillo?
can't think of the Mexican monster. I can't even think of his name either right
Okay.
now. No, that's
No?
Corrales
Oh,
versus.
Cruz. Oh.
But yeah, it's basically the Mexican monster versus David Morale.
Oh,
Should be a hell of a fight. I know they don't like each other, so that's going to be a really good fight. Hopefully, they carry that into the ring, and it's just not for show because we all know after the fights, they're always like kissing and hugging. And all of a sudden, they never meant anything they said during the whole leading up to the fight. Hopefully, there's actually some animosity there where they don't do any of that. David Benavidez versus David Morale. So that should be a hell of a fight.
That's that big tall guy.
Yeah.
The big tall
Yeah.
guy.
The one that beats up everybody
Everybody,
pretty
yeah.
much. So, yeah, so that's it. We just wanted to say thank you for the one person or the two people that were tuning in, Mr. 209 and Lito the Boss. And if you're tuning in, you're not saying anything, come on. Like, you're not showing your face. It's easy to type something and just let us know that you're in the building. We always like to see that, but
all the silent viewers.
yeah,
that's
silent
fine.
viewers, whatever. Just freaking type something in. Let us know that you're in here.
Yes.
We always like to see that.
Yeah.
But until next Wednesday, hey, my dad and myself, just like I say to all the beautiful ladies, and what the beautiful ladies tell me, and the beautiful lady that tells my dad, my mom, she says, Floyd Sr. and Floyd Jr., you and all those other people that are tuning into my channel and all the people that support and watch the lives
Yes.
are too damn
Sweet.